Greetings, I'm Sami Laakso and I welcome you to the stream, and in this one I'm going to be drawing the winning mammal for Development 3's market board. This time the winner was quite obvious. It was an animal named Quokka, and it's a large rodent, I think, if I don't remember incorrectly, and it was quite a landslide because they received 40% of everyone who voted for Quokka. So it was, and the next one got less than 30% from voters. So it was quite a landslide, and in that way, and it will also be the first animal so far which will be featured in 2 market boards. Here's the Development collection, and you can see Quokka over there as well. So I didn't want to restrict the animals that were on the polls too much. So because so many succeeded Quokka, they made it to the so-called finals, the polling, and because they won, they will be the first animal to get the second spot on the market boards. I'm not counting Eddie, my cat, which has been on all of them, like here. And before going to the drawing, I want to quickly show you a sneak peek of the sleeves, because I got some samples today in the mail, and I will make a proper video about these hopefully tomorrow and share that in a project update, but I want to give you a sneak peek here on the stream. So there are 2 kinds of packs. There are the small pack and a large one, and the small one will come with 2 of these packs, which both have 60 sleeves in them, and this is meant for Developments 1, 2 or 3. And then the other pack, which we call the large pack, it will have 3 of these 60 card packs with the custom printing. One transparent to use for the deck selection cards, and some of the specialty cards which have custom packs, so we couldn't print because it's really expensive to have custom print, and Development collection has multiple different card packs on just a few cards, so it's not feasible to have custom print on all. So you will have these with the identical quality for those, and same goes for the character cards. You will have 70 sleeves for those. So this is the large pack for Development collection, and if you get the bundle that has sleeves for all the games, this is the amount of sleeves that you will getting in the in the bundle. It's quite a pile of sleeves, and they will also all fit in the game box. You can here see the collection box with all the cards sleeved with these exact sleeves in there. So I have Developments 1, 2 and 3 here, and collection here, some chunk and the extra specialty cards and deck selection cards over there. I did leave out 20 chunk cards because really you don't even need this much, and it's really packed like this, so you can't quite fit all the chunk unless you're willing to put them like in the slots here with the tokens or something like that, but you really don't need all the chunk in there. And yes, the character cards are also sleeved down here, and they do indeed fit inside as well. And to show a close-up of the sleeves, here's one. It's the pad here. It has the custom printing on back, and just transparent on the front, and you can take the card out. So it has white backing over here, and on the back side it's the printing of the card. So when you use these to sleeve your cards, they will all look identical from the back, because if you have games from multiple print runs, they might have just a tiny bit of different coloring on the back, and there was a tiny mistake that some of the older print runs and the new ones had a tiny bit of difference here in the corner radius, the rounding, and that's also entirely invisible, of course, with these sleeves. And they are really tight fit, so as you can see, there's really little of room here, no play at all, and the card really doesn't move at all, and same amount of white space on all around the card. They're really nice, and I will make a even more better video tomorrow, but this is just a sneak peek for you here looking at the stream. Welcome to the stream, Simon Stark, Caesar, Cody and Doc. Glad to have you all here, and Cody is excited to see Quokka because he submitted it and it's their favorite animal. That's great. And these are the sleeves that are left over once you if you get the bundle and sleeve all the cards. Here's quite many of these custom packs, but not quite as much if you do print or sleeve, I meant to say, all the junk cards as well, but you would still have leftovers of those, a few leftovers for the large ones and a few of the transparent ones. So if they would break for any reason, you would have replacements. But I did try to tear them apart, and they are really really sturdy. We'll do that tomorrow. So enough of that. Let's get to drawing the Quokka for the market board. Here is the market board's current state. We have the first winner here, the scale folk from the reptile poll. It's the Tawny Devil. And the second polling was for the feather folk, the bird, so it's the wood duck with 3 chicks behind them. And then the third poll was for a pale folk, and that was won by this red-eyed tree frog. And now we had the fur folk poll, and it was won by Quokka. And as always on these streams, I have already done a rough sketch of the animal beforehand, so I don't struggle with that too much, because it can sometimes take quite a lot of time to decide where to put them and in which posing and what kind of clothing they may wear. So for Quokka, I have made a really rough sketch over here, pretty much on the center of the board. Not sure where they're going, but they're going there in a hurry, and might still need to adjust slightly where to put them, but something like this, I guess. Might even be here on the right. Doesn't matter too much. Might be even better here, but we can still illustrate them and even move them around in the end if we want to. I was thinking about putting them here in the middle first, but as they are kind of running, or at least going in a good pace, might be better to have them somewhere here, so they are kind of walking away from the illustration, but both of these do work. Doc asked maybe put them looking to the left if they're placed to the right. Well, it depends if they're basically which direction they're going. I can do this. Let's hide that for now and then flip them around. Could work like this if there would be. Might work better if they are looking more to the center and less out of it. By comparison, let's make this larger so I can show it better. So at least on the first games market, this is the most kind of closed one, so it has the least animals on it. They're all there. And then on the second one, it's more open, like this, so it doesn't shine too much. But still, no one's going directly out of the game board. But then, for example, in the collections game board, we have this Komodo dragon over here, and they're kinda walking away from the illustration, so that does work as well. But I'm not sure yet where do we want to put this fellow. If they're in the middle, I think they should be facing to the right. But if they're here on the side, it might look better if they're looking to the left. I think they were the winner of the final poll, so maybe we should give them the spotlight and put them right here in the middle. Like, for example, somewhere here. Yeah, oh well, forgot to change the stream, so here you can see it again. Yep. I think this I like this position the best. Yeah, I realized a bit just in a second that I was still streaming the large view. And here I have some reference photos, so I know what a quokka looks like. And welcome to the stream, Juke, as well. Let's start by adjusting the colors a bit. It's a bit gray at the moment, and I want to be a bit brighter. Let's try to pick a nice color. This is a bit better to begin with. And they have these darker hands. it's quite doesn't have too much different colors on them, so we'll go to the coloring of the clothes quite soon. Yeah, he has exactly the same looking gloves as I have. I just have one. He has two. The teeth do make them look a bit derpy, but quite quite happy as well, or cute. And I have no idea what colored clothes they should have, but we can try out different things. Just first blocking out the color and or the position where do I want the color to be, and then we can experiment with different colors. It's not going to be this orange, pretty sure. The advantage of drawing digitally and thus being able to use multiple layers and adjusting the colors on the fly is really really nice. I was first thinking something more like a red, but we can try other things. That's awful. Can I make it less saturated as well? Blue might work as well. We already have quite a lot of red on the blue-billed duck on the left and the frog, so maybe we want to do something a bit different on this guy. And we could have the headband to be red, for example. And if we do want to make them look like they're really going somewhere, have the headband blowing in the wind or something. Depending on how fast we want them to go. Yeah, Doc says that based on their face should be wearing bright colors, probably. not sure which kind of patterns like on their vest. Let's take these out. They're a bit too similar to the necklace on the frog, so I want something a bit different. For example, something like this, but of course repeated in some form of fashion. Let's see. Have also already colored the pattern and then just copied that instead of the sketch, but at least this way it's going to be more hand-drawn and less computer-generated looking, or at least that's what I hope. Again, I'm drawing this on yet another new layer, so I can even change the colors of these if I want to. Welcome to the stream, Alberto and Muageto. People have such weird nicknames that can't help but butcher all of them. Let's add some shadows. Veronica likes the pattern and asks if I could try the color of the vest like the clouds. Purple. Ah, you mean the clouds on the on the sky, yeah. Sure, I can try that. Let's do it like that. Let's not color the headband quite yet. So there's a purple vest on them. And there's the blue one. Might even be better. Maybe something like that. Chuk says that the Quokka looks like a little ninja and he might need a ninja name. You're free to name the little fella if you have ideas. yeah, I like the colors more like this Veronica as well. Orange belt to finish up the karate quacka look. There might be a line that we don't want to cross. Just not quite clear where that line is. I might I might say that it could go just with the orange belt. Let's turn the opacity of the line art even more down, because as always I will remove it entirely once the illustration is complete. So I like to lower it in steps to see what parts I need to make more visible. better seen even without them until it can be turned entirely down or turned off, let's say. Just have to add those highlights, looks way better. Way better with them. So it's kind of ready now, or at least the main parts are, but now it's just polishing it up until I'm happy with all the details. It's I'm not yet. Sometimes need to get really close and personal to get all the details right. Thanks for the compliments, Muageto and Ronda. Probably can turn the whole sketch off right now. Don't need it anymore. Chuk has found a name, so from now on we're going to call this guy Kochitaro. I guess that's canon now. Is that a completely unique name, or which you came up just now, or some reference to some other IP? It's kind of reference, but also made up. Kochi is the name of ninja from a book Chuk read a long time ago, and then just that Taro part for fun. Well, that works. This will probably be the longest stream out of the 4, simply because it's the largest character space-wise on the board, so it takes longer to finish up, simply because of that. Currently making the edges less solid in a way, so they're basically making him more fluffy. So the face area is starting to... I'm starting to get happy with that. And then we'll move on from here to other parts until I'm happy with all the parts of the illustration. So it has the same level of detail all around. At least the hands need a lot of definition. Can't make too much out of them right now. Morgan is asking if I'll have more playmat designs during Pledge Manager for Development 3, like the wood ducks, for example. And unfortunately, no. Currently, we have 27 different designs for the playmats. So all the Animal Folk decks that can be played with, and those are all the playmat designs that we have now. 27 is already just a huge number, and I'm not really looking forward to increasing that number just because of manufacturing reasons. Whenever you must produce anything, for example games or playmats, there's a minimum quantity for each individual thing. For example, the playmats for each different design, so I can't just produce one wood duck playmat, for example. Rather, I have to produce quite a many of them. So it's not feasible to have too many designs. Even 27 is already quite stretching it out. But if we ever produce more decks, I'm quite sure we're going to have more different playmats at that point. So for duck playmat would basically require there to be a duck faction or an Animal Folk deck for them. And never say never. So I'm starting to be quite happy with Kochitara. And there's not much I want to add to them anymore. They do seem to have whiskers, but they're really quite transparent, or at least thin, so they're not quite visible, but need to see if I want to add some whiskers to him. Let's at least try. Yet Chuk is enthusiastic about more decks, and yes, I do have more ideas for decks out after Dale of Legends 3, but those will have to wait for quite a while, because we're going to work with Lands of Culture after Dale of Legends 3, just to do something else than Dale of Legends all the time. Each time I think that this is going to be the last Dale of Legends game, and I don't have any ideas for new decks, but I surprise myself sometimes by coming up with some new decks. Yeah, I can do some light whiskers for him, but I think too visible. They also do have some quite pointy, sharp nails, but not going to be too visible on the pose that he has currently, with hands in the fist. Ronda is asking, do I have a plan on when to have Lands of Culture on Kickstarter? We do hope to be able to launch the Kickstarter next year. The game just has so much content that needs to be done in order to deliver the open world feeling that we want to induce in players, so that's why it has taken so long. But we are definitely aiming for next year. And Doc is saying that more is better in regards of for the decks. That's sure. and Rhonda said that she played the Tale of Merchants game with her husband last night and beat him. Tried getting his thoughts on my playmat dilemma, but he was no help. Guess I'll just see which ones strike me when the Pledge Manager comes out. That's one way of doing it. Doc says that the only problem would be that the additional sleeve deck wouldn't fit in the collection box. That's true, and if and hopefully when we release more decks for the game, we will have some a solution for the storage as well. Whether it being a separate box that you can bring with you in addition to the collection, where you can store the additional decks, or you could even pick your favorite decks and put them in the separate box and just take that with you, so you wouldn't have to bring the whole game box with if you're going to play with your friends. Another option is, well, just a bigger box for the collection, or some for example a foam core insert which would hold a little bit more decks in the same space. We have thought about different ideas and we'll need to see which of those we will settle upon once the time is up for that. And I can also post some polls to ask what people would prefer, a larger collection box or a separate one to split the game into two boxes. But if you don't sleeve, then there's room for at least one or even two games in the collection. But we do want to address the storage solution for those of us who do sleeve our cards. And John Nama asking when is Tale of Merchants Collection 2 coming out? I'm not sure. And Dirk, welcome to the stream, and welcome Dirk as well. I think the happy little guy here is pretty much done. Straight below the middle card slot. And yes, Rhonda is thanking for considering the sleevers. Yes, I will do that with Tale of Merchants and our other games as well. Lands of Culture will have, based on our current situation, it will have over 400 cards in the base game, and we will make sure that all those can fit in the game box effortlessly if you do want to sleeve them. I think that if I would touch him anymore, I would make it worse at the moment. And just one check, it was Kochitaro. I just have to write that down if I ever need to refer to the characters by name. I will then use the name given by Juke. Esa said that Tale of Merchants 3 is already over 100k. Is it over 100k in euros or dollars? Because I'm not currently looking at it. Yeah, dollars. I don't care that much about the dollars because the project is in euros. So it's currently sitting at 90.7k in euros. Doc asks, do I have a preference between those I draw during the streams? Can you elaborate a little bit on what you mean by your question, essentially? And Rhonda will be upping her pledge by adding 2 copies for more people and 4 playmats. Rhonda is asking how many people I'm working on the projects. You can see the credits on different games in the rule books, but I'm responsible for the basically game design, the illustrations, and then I have a bunch of people helping me with playtesting and the world building and writing the rule flavor text and proofreading as well, because we try to minimize all the errors in the rules, because no one likes typos in the rule books. So here's the credit page for Developers Collection, and how I can make it so it doesn't shine quite that much. It's impossible I say. Here, here's all the people who worked on collection. Really nice seeing there. I'm not even with, for example, with Developers 3, I'm even more excited about the backer count that we have here instead of the total funding, because our previous record was held by Developers Collection, and that had like a bit over 1800 backers, and now we're over 24 because we had more funding in Development Collection, but it was a larger game, so each backer backed for more basically. And also this is the first project that we are charging shipping after the campaign, so we can charge even better the amount that you're actually we are paying for the shipping, so you can pay more closely to the actual price, because Kickstarter doesn't let us have different pricing based on add-ons and weight, so we can use the pledge manager to calculate the exact correct price for everyone. So we would have already broken the record if we were to charge shipping during Kickstarter. Rhonda is asking how many people, or it's the same question. Any chance of solo version of their merchants in the future? There's already a fan-made variant, and it's on one of these updates. There's a link to it, and if I just can't remember which one of these, not that one. Probably a newer one. So the game doesn't have Development doesn't have, and quite certainly won't have, an official solo variant, just because not all the different decks work with different player counts. I mean, they don't work with solo because they're so interactive, and there's stealing cards from other players and stuff like that. So the fan variant works quite nicely, and it does include the race aspect and tearing up your deck and building it. That aspect works really nicely with the fan variant, but it doesn't quite work with the interactive decks. and that's why we are not. I'm not comfortable adding a solo mode when not all the content in the game supported 100%. So I would feel like lying if the box would have 1 to 4 players and then you purchase it for 1 player, and it would not all the content would be fully supported. So it was one of these earlier. Let's see. Should be able to find it in one of these earlier updates. It's here in the update with named Prepared Grizzled Tree Kangaroos. So it has here the fan-made solo variant. It has all gameplay video of that, and it also has a link to the thread on Board Game Geek, where you can go and read the rules on how to play. It's basically you're playing alone, and after your cleanup, after your turn, you will throw away the last card in the market slot. So on the cheapest market slot here, you will throw that away and completely out of the game. And if the market ever fully runs out of cards before you win, then you lose. And then there's some additional rules on what to do with cards targeting opponent's hand and deck and things like that. But the rules are quite simple, and they're all on this sheet here. And let's have one final look at our new fellow on the game board here. And this was the last stream on Development 3, but I might be doing some other streams. For example, I could do a stream where I illustrate a card for Lands of Culture or something like that in the future, and I will definitely be streaming some playthroughs of Lands of Culture at some point, and I will announce those on at least on Twitter, our Discord server, and on of course YouTube. If you subscribe here, I will announce any streams ahead of time, and then you can set a reminder for yourself or and look them live or later as a video on demand as well. So I thank all of you for joining the stream and asking some nice questions and overall having a good time. I hope to see you on some of the future streams and future Kickstarter projects and things of that nature, and maybe some conventions once the world calms down a bit and we can actually go to any of the conventions. So thank you, and see you sometime in the future. Bye.